why is it that the people who have been put in jail come out and re-offend? And the question is, can the offenders be rehabilitated? And what are the specific conditions required for one to receive parole? Well, joining us on Skype now is Claudine Maria, and she is with the National Institute for Crime Prevention and the Reintegration of the offender. Claudine, thank you very much for your time. The question I want to ask of you first is, can people truly be rehabilitated in our jails right now?
Well, we as NICRO, we are a civil society organisation, and we believe that every person has the potential to be rehabilitated. However, when it comes to our correctional centres, there are certain challenges that is being faced by our Department Correctional Centre. And one of them is overcrowding. One doesn't know about the human resources. But, when it comes to our correctional centres, and they are being governed by our the Correctional Act, and that determines that, all of the activities are focused on the rehabilitation of offenders, and also the white paper of correctional services are describing and undescribing that should be the focus of our correctional centres and the purpose of correctional centres. And that's why, if you even think of the name, is correcting behaviour.
What are the key conditions for one to receive parole?
Now, when it comes to parole, you find that when a person is serving a sentence, that sentence can either be determined in a sense of determined for parole, or there is not a specific time frame, or there's a time frame given for when a person can receive parole, or alternatively not. And the conditions are normally, like I say, I'm talking from a civil society perspective, and the conditions are normally that there are very specific conditions that a person needs to be prescribed to. An individual, after serving a specific period, at least 2/3 of the sentence, that individual can then, if he or she believes that they are eligible for parole, that they can actually apply for that. And first and most importantly is that application is then provided to the parole board. So those are part of the conditions. That first of all, you have to serve a certain period, that you make your application to the parole board, and then of course that the parole board needs to determine whether you are eligible for parole. And then one of those conditions also, certain good behaviour, that is then displayed while you are imprisoned.
Claudine, a very disturbing statement was made recently by the Correctional Services spokesperson. I'm turning my attention now to the people who sit on these parole boards. And he says that they are firstly closing the gaps in the system. And what does he mean by that? He says that some of the people who sit on these boards are there simply because there's, quote unquote, money to be made. Are these people qualified to even sit on these boards? What is the checklist for someone to make it onto the parole board?
Well, I have to say, unfortunately, I'm not fully qualified to comment on that, based on the fact that, I'm not part of the Department of Correctional Services. But in our own experience, also here in Mpumalanga, we have observed that there are, specific individuals who's been serving a long time within the correctional, for correctional services have had years of experience, and that you actually have to apply for these positions. So it is quite disturbing if the statement is being made that there are individuals that is just sitting there based on the possible income. But you have to have an experience in correctional, processes and also years of experience. And that's my observation of our parole board here, and I can only speak of our province here, that it's qualified, well-experienced individuals that may be allowed to serve on the parole board.
All right, Claudine Maria, thank you very much for your time, Skyping to us via Nelspruit, that's in Mpumalanga.